Hi everybody, welcome to another video. This time we're going to be using watercolors to color in this little illustration in my sketchbook. So I'm starting out with this purple color as a base coat for Gigi. I'm doing that for two reasons. So first of all, it just makes her a little bit more interesting rather than being a flat grey, but also this scene will be based at sunset, so I do want the tones to be a little bit on the warmer side. So as I go around with the colors, I'll talk a little bit about these characters and who they are and what I'm sort of hoping to achieve with them, where I might take them in future. Just before I start, just as I'm coming to this part with the skin tones, I'll mention that I've always had a little bit of a hard time getting skin tones right, but for this one I used a mix of yellow, pink and brown, and I just watered it down so it wasn't quite, too intense or vibrant, and that's worked fairly well, I think, for this illustration. So just a little bit about these characters. They're based very much from myself, the little girl, maybe something like my inner child, and of course the little cavoodle is based on my dog Gigi, and the two of them are best buddies and they're always together, and they just get out and have adventures and explore and learn about the world and have a good time. The little girl herself, the reason she is in a wearing a sheet and dressed up as a ghost at all times is because basically she's really shy. She has a bit of a hard time finding her way in the world and fitting in, so she just sort of wants to not disappear or be invisible per se, but just hide a little bit, I think. Also, just as I'm coloring the ground down here, I'll come back to the characters afterwards, but I wanted to mention that I tried something a little bit different from usual, where I loaded the brush with a bit of green and red, but I didn't blend it really heavily, and I thought it worked really well because hopefully you can tell here, I'm getting lots of different hues of sort of green and brown and sort of almost red, all mixing, coming out together in the ground. And I thought it worked really well and it was pretty interesting, so I'll definitely use that method again in future. So here I'm doing the wash to make the scene look a bit more like it's at a sunset. The wash is just yellow and orange, very, very watered down, so it's fairly weak. And just going over the top of everything and bringing it all together, making it look like it's all part of the same scene. And I'll come around with a couple of colors just to adjust colors. So for instance, this sheet here, I want this to be a bit lighter than it is, so I'm just using this pale yellow to lighten the color up there a little bit. Same with the flowers down on the ground and the whites of the eyes, just cleaning things up a little bit, making sure it sort of looks how I imagined. And the last step will be going over all of the outlines with this reddish brown pencil. I'm going to do all the outlines in the one color this time. I think it'll make sense and make everything seem, like it fits together and unified and fits in the scene. So a little bit more about the characters themselves. I am hoping to continue developing them further. This is not necessarily the final iteration of what they'll look like. I'm just going to continue drawing them in different scenarios together and try a few different things and hopefully settle on an overall design that I'm happy with. And at some point in the future, I'd really love to make an illustrated book, maybe leaning a bit more towards children, but hopefully that's something that people of any age could enjoy, with these two as the main character. So that's always been, I guess, a little bit of a dream or a goal of mine. This is maybe as far as I've gone so far in terms of putting anything to paper. I do have sort of the concept in my mind, and I will be starting to sort of write down the story soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's really scary but exciting, so yeah. And the last step for this illustration here is just brushing in some red pencil fairly lightly and just creating a little bit of a gradient in the sky to create more of that sunset feel and color up in the sky. And that's the last step. So this is the final outcome for this little illustration. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me again. Thanks for sticking with me through the whole video. I hope you found it fun. I'll just show you what it looks like a little bit closer up. Yeah, so I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.